Now, off you go. Mr. Fannin, I'll let you take it away while I share this up.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say I love the hat, man. That's some professional peak bending, you know. That takes some real technique to do that. Someone must have bought you a new hat. I love it when you wear them hats, man, because it just shows how much of a countryman you are. And I just know that beautiful Malvern is just around the corner. But, you know, we're always appreciative for you guys tuning in. If you're ever watching this back, give the old hashtag catch up or replay or whatever, just to let us know that you've watched this at a later date. If you're here now and you're locked in watching, give us some love, give us some likes. And I'm always curious, you know, I'm a nomad, I'm a traveller. And, you know, for anyone that's tuning in, where are you from? We know we've got a lot of people from around the world tuning in, watching in. Where are you from? I don't want to know if it's from Liverpool. Non-biased, by the way. But and then the second question I always love to kick this off and raise the energy is, what's been the biggest win of the week? Your biggest win. And it doesn't have to be massive. We're like, oh, it has to be this big thing. Like, just your big, something that you felt, boom, you know, your biggest win. What is it? I've had a great win this week.
Ben, just as a little heads up while everyone's logging in, can you see the comments on actual StreamYard? There's a thing you can see all the comments, because I get confused every week. I think you can see the comments, but you can't. So I'm like, I
can't see. I can't.
Nah, I keep thinking Ben's not picking up on the comments, but it's because you can't see him, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch it. So I'm gonna multitask, which you say men can't do, and also tune in from my Facebook on the left. Right, I'm just gonna share this in my community. That has to be silence. So,
what's up? So I can see a few people rocking in. So we got Diane Dickinson, we got Laura's in from Northern Ireland, nice. We got Emma's here, Catherine Moore, one of the Unbreakable crew here, Paula, Cheryl's in, Anne's in. We're big in Ireland. Everyone's from Ireland. Even our members are all from Ireland. Got some Scotland. What's up? Hey, Nicola, what's up, my friend? One of the crew. Richard, what's up? If you're logging in, say hey. Ben's going to turn off his awful ringtone where someone's trying to get hold of him. I don't know who it is, but that's the worst ringtone I've ever heard in my life. He's sharing it up.
His little homies wanting to play a little bit in Fortnite.
And do us a favor, folks, if you're here, hit the like button wherever you are, and that's just because that allows other people to like who follow us to see it. So that's always a benefit. Number two is just nice, show some love, and like you said, if you end up getting something from this, then hit the share button. You know, we got nothing to sell or fucking preach here right now. We're just coming in to deliver some stuff. What's up, Emma? So, Ben, are you sorted? Are you shared up and all that?
Yeah, I think I'm in. Just let me double check that. With all this, I think I'm doing a watch party. I'm doing a watch party. Sounds good. Watch party sounds good. I'm okay.
Everybody hit the like button and let's get cracking. Got someone from Libya in here. Nice.
Libya?
Yeah, from Scotland. You might know them. I don't know.
Maybe.
Brian's in. What's up? So, folks, here's a little question, like serious, as you just tune in while we're getting this ramped up. Ben asked it, you know, what's been a good bit of your week? I'll ask that to every feed I do in our academy, in Evolution, whatever. I know Ben does. But what's been a good bit of your week? It's always nice. What's been a good bit? If you had to pick one bit so far by Thursday, you think, you know what, that was pretty good. That was my favorite bit so far. What would it be? And we'll go from there, and then we'll dive in. We're going to talk a bit about probably the most commonly asked question both of us get, a little bit of anxiety stuff, a little bit of overwhelm, a little bit of overthinking. And by the end of it, I think my aim certainly, and I know Ben's is as well, is to give you something to go away with to do. You know, go away, something you can do that will improve the way you think, the way you feel, and the results you get in life. That's what this whole lockdown life is about, to put something useful out for people just to go, you know what, I can go do that. That made sense to me. I'm going to go do that and get something from it, like rather than just tuning in and having a little listen. But we are going to be quite conversational here. So if that's not your thing, then feel free to tot off and do something else. Looks like Amara's had a 5th birthday, Ben.
I know, bless her.
Was that the best bit of your week?
Yeah. It was a great little birthday weekend. A bit strange, you know, because we couldn't have a party and stuff. But we maybe broke some reels, but it's all good. But she's no, she had a great time, and she just appreciated it, even if she don't know no difference. So just from saying 4 to 5 sounds it's a big leap, although it sounds 1 year. You look at 4 or 5, things start getting a little bit serious. But she's no, she had a great weekend. But one of the other things that I've just had in the line of business, what I do, another friend of mine, another coach, was talking about. He says, we're in the shipment business, and I was like, okay, distribution is no, look, friendship, relationship, partnership, entrepreneurship, leadership. I'm like, ooh.
You like that?
Real insight, because I'm thinking that's where we start from, right? We start from friendship, and we lead into it, mentorship, coachship, whatever. Because people in a lot of ship right now, right? And they just don't know how to course to ship. So, with any ship to get from paradise to get to paradise, we always have to go through a storm, and that's what we're in now. A little bit of uncertain waters. I know people can jump ship thinking that's a better ship, but ultimately, we guide our ship. I always say it. Jim Rohn says it's not the blowing of the wind that determines where you end up in life. It's a set of the sail. So, I know a lot of people, we're all in a bit of a storm right now, but just knowing the other side of a storm is paradise. So that was it. Just one of them little keys that open up doors that just let you walk in and go, this is a nice room. So yeah, man, respect to Mr. Fraser.
Nice. There's loads of people in here. We got people saying, find out I'm capable of more, doing my yoga this week. We got one of the crew, Laurie. Laurie. Laurie came in this week. She's doing this weekly mobility, because she's incredible. She's great. She's doing mobility, she's doing flexibility, but in more of interactive way, I'd say, not your traditional stretching, the stuff we kind of like. And she's doing a lot of skill-based stuff, headstands, handstands. The Academy group loved it, but I think that's what Cheryl's on about. What's up, Liam? So a lot of people out walking, getting out and about. Amazing.
Hey, just saying to Laurie, sorry, Laurie, because Simon didn't tell me anything about that. So I'm the first I heard of this. I'm always last to hear, but he tells me with excitement like I'm the first one to know, so he keeps it real.
Maybe you missed the chat. Maybe you missed the memo. So, guys, here's a question for you. Now, come on. Well, everyone who's commenting, everyone put their win in, right? Their best bit of their week. Do it. And then we're going to move in. We're going to move in and get some stuff done. There's like 50 odd of you here again live, which is brilliant for an afternoon live. Like that's some decent stuff for us. So we're going to try and keep you entertained. Ben, I'm going to stick Ben on the spot. Everybody put their win in. And before we dive, hey, Andrea's in here as well. Before we dive into some kind of practical stuff, I know Ben's going to talk about, well, I don't know if he is, but I'm going to encourage him to, sometimes maybe in his life where he's felt really overwhelmed and anxious and panicked and how he's come through that, some practical stuff. I'm going to touch upon some practical stuff. However, I've got a question for you, Ben. What have you been doing in lockdown? That's no shit. Now, I've thrown you on the spot here because I've got some points I want to make about lockdown, my personal lockdown. But I wondered what you've been doing in lockdown, because I know you've been doing loads of stuff.
Yeah, what do I start with? There's been loads of stuff going on. Personal,
yeah,
professional.
Well, let me ask a better question. What have you been making an effort to do throughout lockdown? Bear in mind, you've got a young family, you've got businesses that have probably been, a couple have been, like you can't run the events business, I don't think, right now, can you?
No,
so you've certainly experienced some turbulence. You've got a young family, parents, whatever. What would you say is, what's been your main aim through lockdown? Sum it up.
Yeah, I would say it would be down to obviously the priority of self-care and having an absolute military routine. Military. Like I can tell you right now what we'll be doing this time next week. Like to a T. Absolute clarity. Nothing is by chance. And when I say about self-care,
so touch upon that. What's been one self-care thing you've really been diving into?
Well, the biggest thing right now for me is meditation. Next phase of meditation, right? Which is we're measuring that, right? This ain't we're just pissing in the wind and hoping something's happening. We're seeing what's going on. Controlling emotion, elevating emotion, all that type of stuff. Might be a bit too deep for now. Make more sense at the end, but yeah. The fact being is that I the king eats first. My discipline in the morning is way before anybody else gets up. I serve myself. Meditate, a journal. I set my intentions for the day. I take my stuff, I'm into supplementation. I have some time to observe. I have some time to reflect. And, I've already set the pace for the day. By the time the kids come downstairs, the energy in the house, never mind just in myself. It's set the pace. You know, then we get ready as a family. We come downstairs. The first thing we do is move the body. I mean, rain, sleet or snow, we have been outside, whether it's Joe Wicks or, I mean, we've got now neighbours doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? Talk about leaders need leadership. You know, we run around in the morning, we sit down, we do something called H3, which is some kids' mindfulness. And then, you know, we're privileged enough to homeschool the kids, and we've not missed a day. And that's not me to say, oh, yeah, other people are doing less than more. People doing the best with what they've got. And I just ultimately respect that. I know some people like my brother, they're struggling to do that stuff, and we've had to talk about that. So
what would you be? What would you say? I'm interested. Like, when I hear you say that, I'm like, fucking hell, he's got a lot. He's doing a lot. But you got to remember, guys, if you're watching this, Ben's been in this industry of personal development for a long ass time. So he's arriving with a higher level of training to lockdown than somebody who's going, oh my God, I got some kids to homeschool, I got my business. The thing I would touch upon with what he said there is, like, you seem to involve your kids a little bit with what you're doing. Not to, you know, you seem to involve them rather than you kind of do things a lot together, don't you? They train, they exercise with you. They do their little bits, fill their journal in when you journal and different things like that, don't they?
And that's the way, right? You got to lead the way to show the way. Like, I'm not here to tell them what to do. I lead by example, and these are family values that we live by. You understand that health is important. You know, like I said before, you know, there's 2 hours a day that we've got whatever you want to do time. You know, Kyle go off and play computer, and it's his time to do with, you know, if he wants to play computer, if he wants to do anything else. Like, we have our own VIP time to do our thing, but that leadership level, it's not just in business, it's in life, right? And I think I don't come across many parents that don't want the best for the kids, and I feel what we want most for our kids, we can't give them, right? We've just got to show them. And I don't, you know, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to ingrain these habits, you know, through this. There's been no fear and panic. We spoke openly about, you know, the situation that we're in. We've not hid nothing, because I want them having the ability of being able to deal with pressure. You understand where we're at in a situation. And, you know, I think just talking about kids right now, they're more resilient than we think, right? Kids are more aware in terms of energy and feeling. Even if you're not telling them something wrong, these guys will feel it. So, you know, it's important to us that we adapted and we adjusted to this situation, and the kids' routine was priority, and that's what we set about. Whether we've done a great job or not, it's irrelevant. We've done our best, and that's all we can do right now. It seems to be working, and that's what, you know, we're happy with that. And as lockdown,
whoa. We're doing our best. That's it. That's a key thing for everyone. Anyone who's listening to that, thinking, bloody hell. I think regardless of whether you're getting it spot on or not, like, you're doing your best to make progress in a certain area. I think everyone's too hard on themselves. It's real.
Man, can I just add to? I love that what you said there. This morning we're running, and I think we was all a little bit tired, but, you know, anyway, we've done our 5 laps, and I was talking to Cairo walking around. I'm like, look, son, in life, you know, sometimes we can run, sometimes we can walk, sometimes we can jog, sometimes we can sprint, sometimes we can crawl, sometimes we just have to see direction. But whatever you do, no matter what, we just got to keep going forward, regardless of the pace, because inside that forwardness is progression, right? But reflect on the work that you've done. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really, you know, we have this thing where we don't really talk while we're running. I say to Cairo, gather your thoughts, go to places, you know, go to yourself. This one's about you. But I'll always lead from the front. I'll always run from the front. And I'll say, one day, son, I'll be chasing you. And it's those principles, you know, this is what we are right now, right? It's just the ability to keep moving forward. We're all waiting for someone to press play back into our life, the government to say go back. And life hasn't stopped with this situation. Whether we're progressing by 1%, 2%, whether we found a new hobby, when we found a new discovery, when we found, you know, the time to slow down and ability, we need to recognize that shit. Recognize it for as profitable as it is, right? Because as we're going to talk in a minute, with all this emotional behavior, this mood manipulation is coming from where our attention, our awareness is. So if we have that, what we talk about, what you've coached me with, we need to place that attention and awareness on something that's priority in terms of dealing with the best with what we've got right now for the best of the solution. And not every day is great, but I believe there's great in every day.
Well, I think I wrote about this week for everyone. It's not about making certain situations good. That's where we all get confused. It's like everyone tries to make everything positive. Like, some things in life aren't positive, and some things in life aren't good. We have a huge cross section of, I don't even want to call them members. It seems a bit shit to call our Unbreakable crew members. Like, we have a huge cross section of people who are in Unbreakable, and some people are going through some really tough things, and it's not our job to make them positive things. Like, oh, let's find the positive in this. Our job is to help them get the best out of it, and just help them get the best out of it to make it a bit better. And so, touching on that, I hope that makes sense. Like, but I hate this industry which tries to make everything positive. It's like, you know, I used to probably be like that a long time ago. Then you deal with people in certain situations, and you think there's nothing positive about this. Well, like, this is painful and horrible, and my job is to help you get the best out of it, not actually, you know, make it good, make it great. It's like, let's help you get the best out of this situation. That's what we're all built around. And everyone's going through different things, and everyone's going through different places. But I honestly believe that everyone can do a little bit better. And I don't mean this because nobody's doing enough. When you hear that, oh, I can do better, well, I'm not doing enough. It's like, no, you're doing great. I just always will believe, I'll have my insight on the side of life that people can always do a bit better. People can always feel a bit better. Whether you feel great or whether you feel awful, there's the ability for you to feel a little bit better. Whether you consider yourself to be flying or struggling, there's the ability, there's the possibility that you can struggle less, you can do a bit more. And I'll never stop believing that. And I'll never stop believing that in our groups. Whether people are going through painful things or incredible things, you have the ability to just feel a little bit better. And that, for me, is a nice uplifting role. The other view of life is, it's all fucked. You know, nothing can get better. That doesn't fill me with much joy or happiness or possibility. So I would always say, no matter where everyone is, you can do a bit better. Not because you're not doing good enough, not because you aren't good enough, but because you've got the possibility to do a bit better, and that's great. So
yeah, I want to touch on that a little bit, because that really, you know, we're talking about good and great and that ability. Like, so we are in a situation with lockdown. You know, just being vulnerable with myself. You know, I lose a business. You know, the kids are out of school. All that type of stuff that can be seen as like, wow, this is a negative situation to happen. You know, but from that situation, and not seeing just so much a good and a great in it, but the ability to just improve from, as obviously gone into progression that's felt great and good, and whatever else has come with it. And there's nobody on this live right now that has not been through something turbulence right now in terms of what's just happened. Let's just, you know, look at the last 8 weeks. And in that section there, I know for a fact something has improved. Something in some area of your life or multiple areas of your life has improved from this situation. Maybe just the ability to appreciate something that you never appreciated before. And there's a lot of priceless stuff that doesn't get recognized because we don't recognize it for what it is. You know, and again, you know, that there's a lady up at, I went to see, you know, my good friend James yesterday, and he said something to me that I'll remember this for the rest of my life. He's very wealthy, my friend. He's on good money. He lives in a mansion. And, you know, he's been on lockdown last 2 weeks, and he's just like, you know, I had the best month ever last week. It's like cool. And he's like, you know, I've got all the time and money that I need, and I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I need more. And it wasn't even that. It was just connection. You know, he lives on his own. He's got himself a dog. And I was just like, wow, what a powerful statement. Because this is what everyone's trying to work towards, right? And just having some friendship and connection and someone to speak to. And man, you know, it was priceless and great to see. And just one more thing, there's a lady up the road, and our son has some learning difficulties. And when I see this woman and what she do as a parent, you know, the levels that she goes to, you know, I probably observe her for what she does more than herself, and take inspiration from that. And, you know, this lady, I hope she sees it. You know, I can't question it if she does or not. But, you know, seeing that, yeah, man, that just, you know, as a parent, I'm just like, wow, you know, it makes me be humble, grateful, appreciate that even people like that are doing the best of what they've got. And if people are doing that, then, you know, the world's going to be a better place for it, and so's theirs.
Yeah, definitely. There's a little comment in the comments. And I'm going to bring it up because I know Charlotte. Charlotte's cool. She's one of our Unbreakable family, is I think what we're calling it today, or Breakable.
Rambo.
Yeah. And she said, you know, she's in this lockdown. She feels a bit of a, pressure to exercise. You know, not got any issues with her weight. Always eats well. but everyone says to move. So every day I've been like for 7 weeks getting up, hammering Joe Wicks. And I dread it, and I hate how I feel when I'm doing it. And I don't feel better for it. So I've made the mental decision just to stick to walking. And what an incredible post, because that's what happened at the start of lockdown. I think everyone came out with this, you've got to be building a new career, you should be exercising every day or your mental health's going to implode. End of the day, that is nonsense, right? Exercise is good for your mental health, 100%. It's good for your mental well-being, should we say. But it's probably the least important compared to actually doing the things you enjoy and training your mind, 100%. And so pick something that's good for you. Now, I had a conversation today, Ben, you might relate to this. I said to someone, I was talking about coaching, I was like, your job as a coach is to not set people up with massive goals and give them more opportunities to fail. It's to give them more opportunities to pick up little wins. That's been my whole thing in lockdown, in our academy and everything. Rather than overwhelming people with millions of things, because it's, oh my God, lockdown. It's like, let's give them a little bit of different things each week. If they can do, if they want, they don't have to do it if they don't want. Because what happens is people set big goals, they don't hit them, and they feel like a failure. And every time you do that, you lose some self-worth. You lose confidence. You lose, belief in who you are, because you keep setting these big goals because everyone says you should, then you don't hit them, then you feel shit. Just small things, we should be encouraging people to just do small things, minimum effective dose. If walking is great for you and you can walk a bit further and you enjoy it, crack on, walk. You don't have to be bouncing around doing burpees because Joe Wicks is popular. Great man, does a lot for a lot of people, but it's not for everyone. The most important things for your mental health will always be what you input into your brain, and more importantly, the control you have of your awareness. Hands down, the fitness industry pisses me off when all they talk about at that point is exercise being the thing. It's the thing if you need to make a living out of fitness. But if I want to get better at playing the piano over here, then I don't go and practice the guitar. It has a crossover, I'm sure, but I practice the fucking piano. Now, if I want a better mental health, I'm going to learn to manage my awareness. I'm going to learn to train that. I'm not necessarily, exercise isn't everything. And I love exercise. And don't get all upset saying exercise is bad. I'm not saying anything like that. Exercise is great. If it floats your boat, crack on. But for some people, it doesn't. And there's more important things when it comes to managing your mental health. Exercise shifts your state, floods you with endorphins generally. You feel good in the moment, it wears off. You're left with your predictive thinking again. You're back to your thinking. Oh, here's my thinking. Improve your thinking. Stop masking it. Improve it. And I'm getting a bit fired up here. So I get almost a bit more irate, but it's so important. That part of the industry bores me to death when they think that is the only way to improve your mental health. Absolutely not the case. It's a bit like me saying Unbreakable is the only way you're ever going to improve your mental health. That's bollocks. It's not the only way. It's probably the best way. It's put out there. It's not the only way. And so if you're in that trap of like, I've got to exercise all day, forget it. If you want to improve your thinking, actually start improving your thinking. And that's going to come through tools like a journal, effectively, like meditation, like different techniques like that. That's literally going to retrain your way of thinking. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope people aren't sitting there thinking I'm saying don't exercise. I'm not saying that. Pick some exercise you like. If you want to improve your mental health and you're slogging yourself away feeling miserable every morning, seems pretty fucking counterproductive to me. Do you know what I mean? Ben sat there thinking either that or he's fucking. Are you meditating right now?
No, I'm just listening to you because I was thinking, my fitness is an absolute joy to me, and that's what I'm saying. We do things that we enjoy, and things I do that I enjoy, people wouldn't enjoy, and that's the fruit of life, right? People are so easily led. People are, a lot of people are just sheep, and we see it. Look at the trend now is to feel like shit, which is insanity. But my game, which I love and adore, is Thai boxing, and people are in there with very poor mental health, even though we're fit and tuned in, and what you would say physically tough. And it goes back to friends that I've lost in suicide that you would think were mentally tough and wasn't. And it is frustrating on what we're trying to do. And it's not one size fits all at all. And people can get caught up in the hype and caught up in other people's rhythm. And, you know, what I'm hearing you say right there is that, you know, you got to do you. We were talking about this at the beginning. It's your boat. You know, you're not supposed to jump on everybody's boat or be on somebody else's boat. This life is yours and a life to live and not just exist. And yeah, it infuriates me because a lot of the people that get the limelight for shit that doesn't work are getting the limelight for shit that does work. And for me, that's, you know, it's criminal. And that's why we do what we do.
There's a difference between being effective and popular.
Across the board, right? If people, another thing that I was saying the other day, if people's entertainment budget is bigger than the educational or the investments in themselves budget, man, there's something going wrong, right? There's something going wrong.
So for me, what I'm trying to say is this: if you're going to improve your mental how you feel, then work on how you think. Then there is certainly more direct and better ways to do that. But I think anyone here would encourage people to invest in all of the accounts: physical, mental, and emotional. But don't feel you have to turn yourself into an athlete or a gym bunny to improve your mental health. That's absolute nonsense. And that needs to be stamped out a little bit. It's amateur and it's boring and it's lazy. It's just, and what I find, and I've observed that because we have a huge amount of people come into our program every month. What you're doing to improve your mental, your well-being, exercise, great. But it's not the working. Most people exercise themselves into exhaustion because they have to keep busy to feel good. Now that's not effective. It's like we need to learn to feel good and think good, sat on our own. That's power. If you can sit in your house and just feel happy in your own company, that is powerful. That is the ultimate. No need to distract yourself. Just sit there and go, you know what? This is I can sit in my own company and feel brilliant. That's the power I personally value and I try and teach to everybody. That's a powerful, free mind. But I want to share some stuff before we get into this anxiety. Everyone's loving this, by the way, in the comments. If you're enjoying it, let us know. But
just one thing to add there as well, just reflecting on what you were saying. And I know you know this story, is that when I was a personal trainer, I was getting people in ridiculous shape. One thing that led me to understand mindset and was like, you know, I'm helping these people and they're physically getting better. Mentally, they weren't really changing. So physically, these guys were like, and I'm like, this ain't adding up. Which, you know, again, going back to a tough situation led to where we are now in understanding how to develop the mind. And, you know, going back to what you said, Si, like journaling is like the gym for the mind, right? It's one of the best tools that we've got. So, yeah, man, let's deep dive into this subject. We're both fine.
Well, I want to share a few things, right? Because I had a reflection this week, and I want to share them. I've been dying to talk about this to you. And seriously. So this week, you know, I don't watch a massive amount of telly. Not because I think it's bad. I just don't watch it. But I've been loving The Last Dance on Netflix. If you've been watching that, let me know. That's amazing. Michael Jordan, brilliant. But I watched this thing, and I watched Phil and Holly, right, on This Morning. I like Phil and Holly, and they had the government health bloke on there. And they were giving him a real hard time, like, with some of their questions. I watched the whole thing, and don't get involved here with your politics or anything like that. I'm not interested. I'm just sharing this from a personal perspective. So I was reflecting on my lockdown. And the first question I'm reflecting on is this: am I contributing something useful? That's the question I'm going to ask myself from now on. Am I contributing something useful here? Because when I look back at that interview, I like Phil and Holly. They weren't contributing anything useful. They were trying to be divisive. They were asking shit questions. There's such a thing as shit questions. They were asking them. They were asking very questions that were almost awkward. And I thought, how is this helping anyone? Because they kept saying, we want clarity. But their questions were creating more confusion. And I'm going to say this. I think that bloke handled, I don't know who he is really. He handled that interview really well, I thought, in the way he delivered himself. If you can't contribute anything useful to the cause, don't fucking contribute. That's my attitude now. If you can't contribute usefulness, I don't want to contribute it. When I look back on my time in lockdown, I'm asking myself, did I contribute something useful? And if I didn't, I'll be disappointed. That doesn't mean I'm going to go out and take on the world. because I don't think there's anything useful about division. Personally, this is only my opinion, and I'm not asking for anyone's comments on this. I don't think there's anything useful about dividing people. Anyone can question someone. That's all I see now. Posts about you got to think for yourself, so question everything. Anyone can question things. It doesn't make you intelligent. Everyone can question anything. I could sit and question Philip and Holly, for example. I could question them into an inch of their life about things that would probably lead to other things that maybe wouldn't be that great. But would that be useful? Probably not. So when I look back on my time in lockdown, have I contributed something useful? And that's up to the individual to choose what's useful or not. But for me, a lot of people, so-called experts, so-called people, don't contribute anything useful. They question. If I was on a mission to extract some hostages, and we were halfway through the mission, and I had someone bitching and moaning next to me, causing division, I wouldn't want to be on that person's team. Yet we're in a bigger thing than that, and everyone, a huge amount of people, especially in the media, just want to moan, just want to cause division, just want to question, want to find fault. It's easy to find fault. How does that help? It does, in my opinion, it does not. So question number one for me at the minute is, am I contributing something useful? If not, don't contribute anything. And that's what we've personally looked to do with this, contribute something useful rather than not. And the second thing I noticed, and I just want to share this, there was a side where Holly, bless her, was talking about her kid and they're never going to get social distancing. It's stupid. And I thought, well, maybe they should get maybe you should encourage them to get social distancing when they're back at school, because they're all about moving kids back at school. And I just think if I'm reminding myself of this, am I able to look beyond my situation and emotions? If I'm not, then that is not going to contribute anything. We can't always act on our own emotions, like getting caught in them, and we have to see the bigger picture. You know, I don't know what she expects, that all the kids are going to stay at home for the next 2 years and everyone's just going to get paid, like have a massive holiday for 2 years. Things will have to come back to normal at some point. So can I see beyond my emotion? Can I put aside my own opinion for the greater good for a while, the greater good? And I think very often I know I struggle in life when I do two things: when I argue and fight against reality, and when I can't see beyond my current situation. There, I struggle when I'm in those two spots. And I watched that interview and I thought, you're not contributing anything useful, and you're purely speaking from your emotions. And you can't see beyond yourself. And that is the key to life. We have to see beyond ourselves. We are a tiny fragment of fucking life. You know what I mean? And sometimes we get caught in our own shit too much. So I think sometimes if people can't put aside their political views, if they can't put aside their current situation to do what's best, the best option, and follow something, I don't know if I want them on my team, personally. And I'm trying to challenge myself to do those two things. Am I contributing useful? Am I contributing for the best outcome, or am I being divisive, thinking I know best? The world's full of that. Am I able to see beyond my own little world and see, actually, I'm part of a bigger thing here? If I can't do that, then maybe I'm gonna look back on my time here and go, yeah, I was a selfish shit. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do. And for all the people who talk about free thinking, you know, you've got to question. That's free thinking. He's chatting away. Anyone can question. I can ask a million questions right now and be an awkward shit. And is it really that free thinking? Most free thinking people are just reading articles, you know, on fucking Facebook or YouTube. They're not experiencing the reality of it. So my observation from lockdown, for me personally, is those two things. I want to contribute to my own people, family, something useful. If I can't contribute, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. If it's not useful. And the second thing is, you know, we all have to see beyond ourselves sometimes. And I think we do, but I don't think we do. You know, if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it, wouldn't we? I mean, I've spoke for a long time there, but that was something I watched and just thought, you know what? I don't think you're very useful. That's just what I thought. So anything you want to share on that?
I'd say, also contribute to yourself, not just got contribute to the greater good. People, am I contributing to myself is something that we come across a lot, because I know for a long time, which maybe we'll talk about in a minute, my overcare was in everybody else's business. My contribution was to what everybody else was doing. So there's a thing like, contribution is definitely, and that's what we're about, from a place of being a coach and a place of value and believe in that law of giving. But, it starts with yourself, innit? The contribution starts to you. Am I contributing to myself? And we have that, we score that every day, right? What we've received. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge factor, because everyone, like you said, we're living in the knowledge era, but wisdom is better than knowledge. And what does Andrea say? Andrea's got a great quote for this. Like,
I think she's here actually, Andrea. She said, "Experience beats opinion."
Exactly. And everybody knows best.
Bear in mind, Andrea competed for America in the Winter Olympics, like so.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And even then, there's the belief in the contribution, because I know, separately or together, being absolutely direct and open, if people followed something that we have experience in and a contribution to yourself, in 30 days, people would have a result.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's that, that contribution thing, it starts with that, we're massive on that. It starts with yourself. So a great question you said there, am I contributing to the greater good, and what am I contributing to myself on a daily basis?
Yeah. Well, am I contributing something useful?
Useful, beautiful. To myself as well.
There's such thing as bad questions. And I think anyone, like I said, anyone can question things. Anyone. It does not take an expert to question things, to question anything. I was disappointed because a few months ago they're sat there saying, everyone be nice. Just in the world you can be anything. Be kind. What they mean is be kind until I don't agree with something, and then I won't. Which is a bit like the free thinking brigade. Think for yourself until you don't agree with me, and then don't think for yourself. That's what people are saying generally. Think for yourself, but no, don't think like that. No, that's wrong. Okay. Be nice until that happens, then don't be nice. All right.
It's funny how you're saying that with the Stoic, and that's what they were saying. Imagine you had any situation, good or bad or the ugly, and you approach that with kindness. It kind of kills the power in most situations, right? So if you really want to be kind, then maybe it's be kind in anything that's happening right now.
And if you really want something, I would say there is bad questions. Always, I think Michelle said there's no bad. There's terrible questions. That's my personal opinion. There's some terrible questions. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, I think, can you be a good person? That's generally, can you be a good person? Try and be a good person, whatever you think it is. But so, folks, we're going to move into some overthinking. These are the questions that my inbox was flooded with last week. Ben, let's get to work on this. We've been a while already chatting live. But who here would say, if you're tuning in, who here would say, you know what? Yeah, I can worry, I can overthink, I can get quite anxious on times. Is that something you think, yeah, I can be quite panic and stressed out, and it's not useful to me to feel that way? Because I think we're going to share 3 or 4 things here that you can go away and do, or at least understand, that will help you with that. Certainly to improve that. And that's the key, to improve that state, really. You're not going to go from 100 to 0, but can you improve it? If you improve it every day, every week, every month, then eventually it's all good. All good. So, Ben, I know me and you were chatting ages back, and what's your big thing that you used to get caught up in that caused a lot of, would you say, your problems? I know what you're going to say, but
other people's business.
Other people's business.
Worrying about that they were all right. Worrying about worrying about them, worrying about how happy they are, worrying about if it's good for him, worrying about if it's bad for him. And that goes to a level of overthinking, and that dynamic that was. And to the majority of the time, most of the things I was overthinking wasn't even reality.
So build on that. Go on, build on that. I'm smiling. I don't. I'm smiling really. I'm just happy. I'm happy to be here.
Let's just pick a time it's supposed to be like. Probably caught the most when I was on holiday, and I was worried about everyone having a good time, that it was doing me in so much that I was causing everyone having a bad time and myself, right?
Yeah.
And if everyone's good and everyone's happy and everyone's healthy and everyone's in a good place, that meant that I could be happy and everyone be, you know what I mean? Like it was the wrong return of investment. And it was, you know, and again, you know, the other thing is overthinking about that. I mean, that was in real time, which is as a level of overcare, because there's a level of overcare when you're in someone else's business that's none of my business. But that level of overcare, it's not like I didn't care, but I just have to find the right level of care.
Yeah, I think this is really important for everyone to understand. Me and Ben work quite hard on this. You know, is this an appropriate level of care? Now, I think if we care so much and we need other people to feel a certain way for us to be happy, then that really is emotional terrorism when you think about it. I need you to be happy for me to be happy. Like the pressure on that person to be a certain way for us to feel okay. Like and that doesn't help either of us, does it? It doesn't help me, doesn't help the person involved. When I'm applying that so much care that I need you to be good for me to be good, so much pressure on that person. And like you said, well, as you noticed, like I'm so worried about this person that I'm not feeling great, and so none of us are feeling great.
And we've all had that at some point, right? This is, I mean, Facebook is one of them. You're putting out something out there for people to like. They don't like it. Why do they like it? And just, you know, I like to use this analogy as well with overthinking, like the root where it starts, right? I mean, for instance, yesterday I was laughing at the radio. This guy goes, and with his tonality as well, you know, we're about to go into the biggest ever recession. I was like, Jesus, you know, like, and I know a lot of people hit that right there with recession. I'm going to lose money. And then I feel worse. I'm going to lose my house. Then I feel worse. Then I've got no pension. Then I feel worse. Then I won't have no food. And my kids will starve. And the next minute they're in this place rooted from this overcare of what someone has said. Now in, you know, some emotional terrorism in a predicted future, fueled by some of the remembered past. And, you know, I mean, this is overthinking at its neatest, at its most vulnerable place, right? How it can just escalate the feedback loop, as you'd call it.
I think when it comes to thinking, right, everyone here, this is my personal philosophy on this. One thought does not do anything, all right? One thought, good or bad, or useful or non-useful, doesn't really do anything. It's the accumulation of thinking. You have one, it goes, it builds into thinking. And if you get enough thinking going on, you'll get the chemical feedback, you'll get emotions and you'll feel it. But in football, when I play football, they always say, you know, win the second ball. You know, after that first one, pick up the second ball. If you can pick up the second ball, you play, yeah? Thinking is a bit like that. People put too much effort in trying to stop their thinking, and it's wasted energy, and it makes it stronger. Nobody on the planet can stop the first thought that comes into your head. And I don't think they've ever been able to ever predict the next thought a human will have. They can't predict it. It's such a weird thing. So stop obsessing over the one you've just had and move your awareness to some better ones. That's the skill. And that is a skill. And it's probably a bit more detailed than we could do on here. But it is the skill, I think, like you just described there. You hear some information. It starts off like, oh my God, recession. Now, if you could stop there and move on, not really a problem. But when you start going, oh my God, recession, oh my God, my house, my business, who's going to eat? What are we going to do? I'll have to sell my clothes. I'm going to sell one of my kids. It's like, fucking hell. You are in a complete alternate reality now.
And then,
So,
you know, add to that side. So that happens, right? We know why that happens, yeah? And now we've got all that energy, all that awareness on this tumble compound effect from starting from someone's opinion or someone's description or something. Or, you know, you could pick it up from the remembered past and it could navigate into that. Why is that feeling happen right there that it becomes so much reality?
say that again.
Let me ask you a better question. So we've just caught someone's, like that route that we've been through. Someone said recession on there. We've then go to every danger possibility, which is kind of natural for us when we're presented with some type of danger, worst case scenario, yeah? You know, this predicted future of it happening becomes so much real time. Like, give the analogy of like how, break it down, like for how's that happening emotionally with something that's not even reality.
Well, all right, and then we'll go over a little tool. For me, your awareness drifts to something that could happen, obviously. And when your awareness is in a part of your mind and you're thinking, you're having an experience in your mind doesn't know the difference between the experience being out here or in here. So I will say to our group, you could be sat in the morning eating breakfast, you could hear that recession thing, and your awareness moves into your mind like recession, the fear base, and this could happen, and that could happen. Now, your mind doesn't know the difference between actually it happening here or it happening here. And so it has an experience. It starts experiencing it. And guess what happens? You get the chemical feedback. When you have enough thinking, your body needs to understand now. So your mind understands through thinking. So it's like, oh my God, now your body needs to understand. So, you know, you release some little messengers, to put it simply, and you start to feel. And now you feel this experience. And that's like, people do that all day. People do it with anxiety, worry, happiness. We go back to the past and we can experience happiness, but we're sat eating our cornflakes. We can go forward and experience overwhelm, sat eating our cornflakes. You know, we can go back and experience pain, sat eating our cornflakes. Now, if we keep doing that, we just condition ourselves into thinking that way. So it becomes more of a habit. And so I will say this, the key to all these things is to notice when your awareness has moved, bring it back to what to the now, or to a better area of your mind. But that's what happens. You don't know, the mind doesn't know the difference between you actually, you know, go into the supermarket and having a panic attack than sitting thinking about going to the supermarket and having a panic attack. And that's when all the emotions kick in. And so if you want to take control of how you feel, take control of your awareness. That's this. I can't see any point beyond that, really. Do you know what I mean?
So that's what I'm saying. So what you're saying, Sir, right, is that with that recession stuff, we can create that overthinking, create that feeling. We can do the opposite, right? This is some of the tools we're going to talk about in a minute. And I was saying the other day, I don't know how I said it. I'm going to try and say it the same way. Is that like the chessboard? The queen is like you're thinking. It can move in so many directions, right? It can move left, back, forward. You know, it's the queen of the kingdom. All queens need a kingdom. Not all kingdoms need a queen, right? And the king is the protector. The king is the emotion. You know, the king is what everybody's trying to protect. And where that navigation goes, whether it's a good move or a bad move, depends on the health of this king, right? Thinking and emotion.
Mate, chess analogy.
What? You like that? Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that you also have the rest of the chessboard that do different things, right? Pawns are just little moves, different experiences, rooks and all that. And this is the game that we're trying to play with the mind, the game of chess. That overthinking, yeah, you know, we talk about overthinking being a bad thing, but overthinking can be a great thing. This is how me and Si create. Right, we've got this, we can piece this and we can get that in, we've got in there, you know, what we're going to talk about today. And it's like a plan of attack, or not a plan of attack, a plan of strategy. That processes can work both ways, right? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Is there such thing as overthinking if it's good thoughts that you keep thinking? Could you ever get fed up thinking really good thoughts? I think by overthinking, most of us mean I don't like what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking it a lot. I think that's what we mean.
We can overthink things that we like, right? And probably would call that imagination. But you say all the time, too much of anything is a bad thing, right? Not a bad thing, but too much of anything ain't healthy, you know, as we know. But I think we summed that up pretty well there, mate. I think that was dynamite.
I think like when people say, you know, it's a couple of comments, good comments, like, you know, sometimes like you got someone ice in your head. You know, we haven't. I think one of the tools I would would use for, and I like to teach this to our guys a lot, and I'm not going to teach it on here, but is when you tend to catch, the key is catching yourself, catching what you're thinking about. Because when you catch what you're thinking about and you can see it, it's like, well, now I can change it. When we're caught in it and we can't see it, now I can't really change it. So the key is to become aware of it. But the little tool I like to use with our guys is when they feel themselves getting caught up, just cue their thinking with, wouldn't it be nice if? That's something I always say. If you catch yourself, you're eating your cornflakes and your awareness is drifting off to, oh, God, this day's going to be terrible, then just catch yourself. But wouldn't it be nice if, it was a really good day? And just catch your awareness and bring it back. It's like walking the dog, every time he runs off and he's somewhere he shouldn't be, can I get him back? Oh, he's back here now. Wonderful. Or is he going and eating somebody's picnic and jumping up on someone and I've got no control over him? So we got to bring it back all the time. So, and sometimes it's, I think a good question can really do that.
And I was going to say that I think questions are our greatest tool right now in terms of a great question. When we're in the ancient brain, the survival brain, whatever you want to call it, to cue that question and get a better answer, give the body choice. Ask yourself what I was talking about before. Does this serve me right now? Is this what I want to be thinking? What 3 things I can do to make myself feel better? There's loads of questions that you can do, which, Simon coaches, I coaches, and the power of question, cueing yourself, gives you a set point, brings you to reality rather than drift you off, which is probably the best way to explain it. But I mean, questions are powerful, in terms
I think so. So I think anyone who gets caught up in anxiety and overwhelm and stuff, the first thing is, in your day, become aware, because most of our day, we're not really aware of what we're thinking. We're just aware of how we feel. Our thinking goes unnoticed, then we feel a certain way, and then we usually pay attention to what we're thinking. That's how it usually happens for most people. So become aware and actually think, okay, how can I move it? How can I move that? And a good question sometimes to yourself, wouldn't it be nice if? Because you get what you intend a lot. Oh, today's going to be crappy and horrible, and then today's crappy and horrible, and you're correct and wonderful. Well, then maybe shift that to not to today's going to be a good day, because most people say that and don't believe it. And that's the problem. You can't talk yourself into feeling better if you don't believe it. So wouldn't it be nice is quite a soft question. Wouldn't it be nice if I had a great day? Is like, actually, it's moved my awareness. Wouldn't it be nice? And I like that question. I think it's useful for everyone. The second thing,
what's 3 things I can do to have a great day and place your attention, intention. Everybody, you said this the other day, that people want this future of healthy, vibrant, connected, love, freedom, wealth, whatever. But if you're running it, if you put them digits here, that's how you want to feel, and you're running it from a place of burnout, overwhelm, procrastination, all this type of stuff, then this isn't a match, right? I know it's a bit deep into what we're trying to say, but what he's trying to create for you here now is to feel that first. If we can create our attention or awareness to feel a certain way, then we can pivot that. And without being trained in it right now, you can cue yourself with a simple, powerful, purposeful question.
Yeah, just understand that my awareness was in an anxious part of my mind. My awareness was in the future in an unuseful way, and bring it back to now. And if you kept doing that, you'd have a lot of control, like walking the dog, you whistle it, it comes back. Great. He's not eating the picnic anymore. I've got him back. No control over. You got to go over. Sorry about my dog. Oh my God, caught up in the situation. He goes off, bring him back. And that's the power of the mind. So why is that hard? Because it is hard for a lot of people. I was thinking about this morning. I think ultimately,
I don't think it's hard, Si. I don't think it's hard. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's definitely hard. Like we created it. No, it's the discipline to speak to ourselves better. It's that action. Yeah. We've all been there.
The thing to be aware of, though, is if you're somebody who's caught feeling crappy all day, that most of your thoughts are going to be crappy, and you are going to find that harder to move your awareness. You're not going to go, oh, I've moved it with that question, and now I feel great. There's going to be the continuous momentum, which brings us to this. I think if you had a computer and you had it for 10 years, and you've got downloaded absolutely everything, absolutely everything on it, and you've got viruses all over it, then you're not going to, you're on the internet and you're like, come on, fucking hell, why isn't it opening up and why isn't this loading? I think most people's brains operate that way. We haven't got enough space or bandwidth to actually control our awareness. If we're talking about your mind being this static thing and you are this moving around it, you can go to the future, the past, happy, sad, angry, Well, if that's all cluttered and chaotic, like a choppy C or a laptop with that's fucked, you know, when you go, I need a new laptop, you know,
He's fucking updating.
yeah. Then when that happens, we want to be able to like hit reset, I think. And so something I used to be mindful of is rather than battling your mind all day, put some practices in there which encourage you to wipe the slate clean, to create more space. That's like updating your computer, deleting everything you don't need, running it through, you know, a system and going, wow, I've got some, like your phone. Phones do it now. My phone says you're near capacity and it's really slow. Then I delete a lot of apps I don't need and it starts working pretty quick again. Well, your brain's a bit like that. You got to delete some of the shit you don't need. So how can you delete some of the shit you don't need? That's where you've got to be practicing breathing or meditation without a doubt. Like I've said, I'm a massive fan of exercise. But it ain't going to do that for you. Not just neurologically, it's not going to do that. It's going to make you feel better, and that's why I like it.
Well, it's not a neurological practice, is it? It's a vehicle, it's a body, it's a physical, right? And both overlap, right? And like you said, these practical things, once you start practicing these practical things, you will see that, you know, a hard life is easy, but an easy life isn't hard.
Yeah, so if I've got my mind's chaos every day and I go exercise for half hour for an hour, that's a brilliant. Everyone should be, you know, moving their body and investing in it somehow. We discussed this already. But then you need a practice to mentally exercise, so to speak. And I think you can't beat breathing and meditation because that allows you to create space. Now, if you can create space, now all of a sudden your awareness is easier to move around. You can shift it easier. And that's why that's so important. You know, the first lesson we teach in our basic 30-day program before anything is called survival to calm or chaos to calm. And all week, all people do is practice creating a calm mind through breathing. And then eventually, when they get down the line, meditation. Because I know that allows them to then go and do things like journal and move and practice techniques because they've got the mental space to do it. But if they're caught in the chaos because there's no space there, then all our training becomes really difficult and it's hard to take on board. So I think everybody who has some form of overthinking tendencies or anxiety tendencies and all those different things, the first thing is actually practice creating space each day. The third thing is, Ben, I think this is important for you to touch upon. Sometimes, like I said the other day, worry is useful when you find what to worry about and then you come back and you make it useful by saying, actually, there's this problem in my life that I keep avoiding. It's making me really anxious. How can I deal with it? I think that's worth mentioning for so many people because sometimes in my life, I'm anxious and worried and you can keep sticking a plaster on a problem or you can actually go, you know what's bothering me? It's this. And if I just actually take an action to help to sort this, then it will help. Now, I'm not saying action's the answer because that's nonsense. What I'm saying is once you've started working on yourself and creating some space, and if it's a reoccurring thing we're worried about, if there is some steps you can take, then we need to take them, right? Wouldn't you say?
Well, that's their choice. It's somebody's choice. These are the steps that we've took. And this is where we come from, a coach to give people the steps and the tools to do that, right? And it goes back to that choice. Like, do you live there? Do you stay there? Do we stay in problem, or do we start looking at solution? We're talking about obstacles like last week, was it the week before, and trying to identify an obstacle or situation where we are and see that, because I think a lot of people are finding, I hate saying a lot of people because stereotyping, but we'd say we have this tendency to have a solution, but then find another problem for the solution. So it's just getting that clear-winded, next logical step with things that work, that are practical. Finding space is 100% one of them. And why is finding space so important right now in terms of, a good next step? Why would that be important, Si?
Well, it allows you to see things clearly.
You see how simple that is? Seeing it clearly is seeing it for what it is. And when you see things for what they are, not what they're not, I mean, you're quickly starting to getting into the steps and the practical.
I think the biggest benefit of walking, beyond the rhythmic cardiovascular element and all that, is actually people getting outside and getting out of their environment and finding space. That's
you
why
said to
walk.
me all the time that mastery of the mind is mastery of real time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, what we're talking about here is that a lot of this overthinking, a lot of this emotional terrorism is not in real time. And actually, when you're present, like just listening right now, hands up who feels better, not because we'd said something, it's because you're present. It's because you're in the now, you're here. You're with us, which is, again, a practical thing to do this day and age. We have this beautiful mind that can have this awareness that can go anywhere like the queen and the chessboard, but we're using it the wrong way for the wrong reasons. So we're not trying reinventing the wheel. We're just trying to make the processes better to have a different cause and effect, which is now proven in the practical steps that we're talking about.
I think another beneficial thing for everyone here is to have little checkpoints in a day where they pay attention. Like, no shit. When you sit down to eat, pay attention. Just pay attention to eating and notice what your awareness starts doing, and then bring it back and concentrate on eating. And you're not going to be able to do this all day because you'll get exhausted. But then if you're with somebody, listen to them and listen to them. Don't listen to them and then be thinking about dinner tomorrow. Listen to them. Every time you do that, bring it back. And we all do that. There's a couple, you can use those checkpoints right anyone's day. And so I think if you start your morning right, you end your day right with some training habits, and then you go about your day paying attention where you can, little cues in your day. Or like when I have a shower, I pay attention. That's what I do. When I'm having an evening meal, I pay attention. I listen, I engage, I pay attention. It's no wonder we're constantly overwhelmed and anxious when we let our awareness do what the fuck it likes every day.
Oh, fucking powerful. I mean, what you're saying right there, right, is that we're training now the attention that we want to be in control of our attention, because if not, it's being dragged towards something that's not useful or in some way being took over. So our attention on things that's causing this cause and effect, right? Which then, the result of that is emotional terrorism. Yeah? Fair to say?
Yeah. I think so, yeah. And I'm like I said, massive fan of meditation and every day, that, and journaling. But that will make up for just letting your awareness do what it likes for the other 16 hours a day when you're not asleep and meditating. And you don't have to turn into some kind of monk and be ultra present. But but actually, if we say anxiety is going to the future, which it is, and overwhelm and worry is going to the future, and then stay in there, and most of us aren't aware it's happening. You've probably been there. I've been there. You're just there. Do you know what I mean? It's just there. You think, why am I there again? Then it's no wonder if all day long my awareness is distracted. I'm talking to you, my phone rings, I pick it up. I'm outside training, but then I'm looking at someone over here. I'm talking to them. Like, can you hold your concentration on things? And if you can, you'll be able to hold your awareness where it needs to stay. And I think that's a really missing element in a lot of training. Once you've got your bare minimum breathing, meditation, moving, build in little parts of your day where you practice paying attention, and you'll realize how bad we all are at it. Like, we're all awful at it. And then you think, God, no wonder I've my awareness and I'm anxious and I'm overthinking. I have no control over my awareness. Like, I have no control over my spaniel. And he just does what he likes, and it stresses me out sometimes on a walk because he's destroying the whole gaff. Like, when I've got control over him, it's amazing. Hey, come back. Oh, here he is on the lead. Whoa. Like, the ability to do that mentally is a big deal. And so here's a little challenge. Pay attention to somebody this evening. Challenge yourself. Everyone, think, right, I'm going to pay attention and really be here. And then notice how often you're there or there or there or thinking about what. Just pay attention. And I'm not, a guru at that. I'm a lot better than I was because I practice it every day. But
nah, you're a guru, Ty. You're a guru. Don't play it down.
That makes sense. And then you got to realize that most of us, again, if we're watching the news all the time and we're watching videos and we're allowing our awareness to be pulled in all these directions through fear, then we're never going to have control over our awareness, really. I think the thing that's making us afraid has control over our awareness now. Can you see that? I think everyone can see that. When you're in a state of something, you're reading something that's scaring you all the time and it makes you feel shit, that thing is now in control of your awareness. That's my personal take. And that's why you got to watch your inputs at this time. Don't watch things that make you feel shit. Don't read things that make you feel anxious. Don't do it. Don't seek it out. Stop constantly going and trying to find answers that you can't find. You know, start taking control of the things we can, our own choices. You know, I think a lot of anxiety and overwhelm comes from fighting reality. If you've spent the last 6 weeks arguing about lockdown, you've not got half as much done as the person who's cracked on and thought this is what it is. How can I get the best out of it? End of. And you haven't helped anyone else. You know, all these people think they're helping people. Have you helped anyone really? What have you done? What have you achieved with all that fighting? Tell me one useful thing you achieved. And if it's valuable for you, crack on. But I did it for a week and didn't help me. So I'm looking across these things. Ben is a big fan on Win in the Morning. We discussed it the other week. And drinking, hydration, moving. I think Wayne's touched upon that. And here Wayne popped a comment up saying, yeah, I love to move and walk. Yeah, top man. Moving, walk, hydrating. But moving doesn't have to be 100 burpees. It can be anything you find makes you feel good. The other thing we touched upon is some breathing or meditation, or download a breathing app, or etc., etc. We've also looked at paying attention to things in your day. So you stop your awareness just pinballing around on a string of life. Hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. It's like, let me look at what I want to look at. And sleep's a big deal. We touched upon that. We're lucky. I also think stimulants are a big deal. For anyone who's overthinking, if you're exciting your nervous system with stimulants, you're encouraging it.
And that's illegal and legal.
Yeah, that's legal and illegal. Yeah, yeah.
Here's a question. Here's a question that I always I'm bewildered by. Like, who said you couldn't feel great? You know, who said you couldn't be elite or optimal or whatever word you want to call it? Who told you couldn't be who you want to be? And if that, feeling it comes with that first, and it comes down to, I root it back to your habits, and that's in our control. The reason why I'm big on Winning the Morning, because it's the next logical step for most people. Anything else on top of that 90-day goal stuff that we're talking, that me and Cy run at, it's not that we're any better or any worse than most people. It's just our next logical step. So Winning the Morning is a great discipline to be present and use these practical tools and, stretch yourself a little bit to invest in you, because I know for a long time, most of us have been told that we're not important, everybody else's opinion. The system is set up that way to think and feel that way. If it wasn't, then we wouldn't have a society that's so sick and run down and burnt out and so emotionally less intelligent right now. But the point being is that for these things to happen, or for these things to change, or for you to feel that way, it is possible. And with these practical, and you've got to ask yourself that question: what is stopping you? And it's nothing. It's your own limiting beliefs and your own choices. And we all have to take some responsibility on that. And hearing these things, like, you can be motivated from this, and majority of people are going to come away from here, maybe feel motivated for the rest of the day. But today starts again. So there is a form of some type of action, some form of next step. And the next step is progression. And that next step is you doing your best. Will you get it wrong? Will you get it right? It doesn't matter as long as you have that ability to move forward. So, I just, never mind a lockdown. If you was on death's door and your time's up, would you look back and go, I could have done better? It doesn't matter how much money I've got in my account or what I've done. If I can look back and think, I could have done better, or that ain't a life worth living. So, the stress point is right now, this is a great time with a little bit more time to invest that little bit more in you and to take the action. And if it don't work and you don't like gratitude, then cool, but at least you've done some form, and maybe that form of trying one of these practical things leads you somewhere. And the return investment for that will always be greater than for what we've got. I hope that really backs home for today's message.
Yeah, I think so. And I will just add one thing. A lot of comments, I know you can't see them, about thinking positive, and I think that's brilliant. I also think a lot of us struggle because we give too much power to thinking, right? And emotions. And in some of our advanced groups, we do a lot of stuff where people sit with their emotions, just sit there and feel them. Like you feel angry, you feel sad, you feel anxious. Okay, sit with it. Go on, really sit with it and feel it more. Go on, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. And that energy will eventually disperse, like it will move. And I went through a weekend where I did a lot of this stuff. And sit in with yourself when you first start doing it. And I wouldn't recommend anyone do it on here, particularly right now. It's quite hard. Your thoughts speed up. You become more aware of them. Your emotions can become, oh God, all consuming. If you sit there long enough, you'll realize they go. And you'll realize you are far more powerful than any thought or emotion. And that's something worth remembering. We spend a lot of time running away from thinking. Be positive, and we be positive because we're scared of being negative. Be happy because we're scared of being sad. Be calm because we're scared of being anxious. But if you really sit there, that won't, and you have correct training, that won't harm you. And I really mean that. If you can sit still with that and breathe, that was the most liberating thing I ever did, was sit until and feel it at its fullest, and then feel it ease off until it disappeared, and you're left with who you are.
So what you're saying right now there is that all emotions have an endpoint, right? All emotions burn out. Oh, not burn out, but like all emotions will transition into other stuff.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is you hear a lot online, oh, you're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not these things. And it's just throwaway comments said, maybe by people, who are just throwing it away. And if you say, well, what am I then? Come on, let's get deep. What am I? If I'm not those things, well, you're the thing behind it. But most people never experienced that utter stillness in themselves. Now, I think there's a big difference with wanting to be happy and not wanting to be sad. And so it's because we're afraid of these contrasting emotions. I get it, they don't feel nice. But if you sit with them and you'll see that behind all of that is a human being, isn't it? Like whatever you consider yourself to be. And that stillness is beautiful. And the whole point of that is to not get too spiritual here. You'll see how much power you have when you can sit with something and not let it bother you, and just let it go.
Powerful.
To sit with that sadness and feel it, not be afraid of it, express it fully, and then sit there and go, wow, I feel a little bit better, and I didn't have to run away. And so
that probably goes back to what my good friend in the stateside, the ex-Navy SEAL Tim Sales. This man's decorated soldier, and he would diffuse bombs underwater. And I said to him, how do you cope with feeling that way? He just goes, my level of training. my level of training. He would not give that power. He just got a job to do, right? And the guy next to him would trust him with his life because he trusts him with his level of training. So now you've got a powerhouse in a situation that's a real matter of life and death.
Yeah. Sometimes just letting go like that is the biggest relief in the world. Try not to be something. Just let go. Don't stop trying not to be something, and just let go. It's the most relieving sensation you can possibly experience, I think. It's like, relief. Sometimes we give it more emotion. We give it more power by being in it. Like, just relax and be inquisitive and breathe into it. And behind it is it all passes. Energy will always pass eventually.
You talk about like being absorbed in it and observing it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think we are so absorbed in our emotions. I mean, people say, "Oh, I'm so aware of my emotions. I'm so aware," and I'm not taking a piss, but I am. It's like, and I just feel everything, and that's all good and well until you're absorbed in it. It's actually you're not aware of it. You're absorbed in it. Awareness is the mountaintop view, sitting there and going, yeah, actually, you know what? I can observe myself here. You can feel yourself getting angry or frustrated, but you actually can feel that you're not as well, that you're observing it. That's power. You can observe yourself thinking, oh, I've got this craving to go eat this food, or I've got this craving to lash out, or oh, I'm caught up. But you behind that, you're observing it like, nah, that's probably not going to be good. That's space. That's power. Most people actually, we get absorbed what we mean is I'm actually absorbed in people's emotions. I'm absorbed in myself. Pull away. That's practice. That's training. But I think a lot of it comes from just letting it go. Just like stop fighting what you don't want, and let it go. Like, no shit, emotions can work that way. So if you're looking for practical steps here, Ben's touched upon it. Win the morning, water, movement. Pick movement you like. You know, you don't have to suffer yourself into happiness physically. Pick movement you like. Hydrate like fuck.
Get yourself a day like gratitude if you're on breathing techniques.
Yeah.
Appreciation.
Bundle those into your morning throughout your day. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Like, no shit. Pay attention. Stop running on autopilot like a zombie. Go reading the same stuff, looking at the same thing, hanging out with the same people. Stop paying attention. Like, what am I doing here? Am I actually listening to this person, or is my awareness over here? Am I eating, or am I thinking about problems again? Well, bring my awareness back. Let's be here. Use those checkpoints in our day. You know, sleep. Get to sleep. Get some decent sleep. Stop drinking coffee every hour if you're anxious. It's like, why are you exciting your nervous system? Like, fuck. You know, don't cut it out, but cut it down. I love a coffee, but if you're drinking 5 in the first half of your day and you're like, I'm so jittery, my mind's racing, you're just smashing a stimulant in your brain. Of course, it's going to be.
That's a great one to put in. And I definitely add, if you're really struggling right now, just switch off from any media stimulus right now for now. I mean, the world's not going to change too much with not listening to that stuff. But if you've not got the ability to just not digest someone's information and create that space and see if it's counterfeit, see if it's worth being banked in your emotional bank, then just lay off that for now, because the better your energy gets, the better your emotional state gets, the better you'll be able to deal with some set of things. And I'm real big on the media right now, because the stuff that they're saying across the board, it's just not useful. And the reason why it's not useful is that even me and Si, if we listen to it, I can feel myself getting dragged in. I see clips here and there, and I'm like, I'm to the well-trained eye, I feel like I have the ability to deflect and pivot what I want to digest. And looking at that stuff, if you've not this day and age have that ability, I mean, it's a real cause and effect that can emotionally, impact you in a way that will ripple effect into other things. So I want to stress that point. I'm not against media, if they're signing a new football player, but some of the stuff around some of the stuff they're talking about by now, they're not experts and they're very much manipulative. And the news is set in a way that will draw your attention because it's an awareness of danger, and it's just not healthy right now. And it's a real, without any of them things doing, just stop stimulus of not only what you're consuming, but also what you're hearing and seeing.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. You've got to think, we have emotional attachments to everything. We have emotional attachments to our past, to things in our environment. And like I said, if you're constantly watching stuff that scares you, then be prepared for your awareness to move to the fear part of your mind consistently.
I'm so sorry. I just have to read this comment here. Connor's put, I just started watching this or drinking the coffee straight out the window now.
I saw that.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's taking action.
Someone outside Connor's place has got KO'd by a coffee.
Someone was positive, just turned into a negative.
It was right. Someone launched a coffee out. Social distancing at its finest. Yeah, mate, do you want a coffee?
Corona. Oh man, that's killed me. So anyway, we're 1 minute, 20 minutes in. So one thing I love to do, we said a lot of things and people would have heard different stuff. If you ever watch it back or replay or right now, fill the news feed with something valuable, a lesson, an insight, a bingo moment, whatever that is. Fill the news feed from there, because that's what was heard for you today. That's what you got to take away with. Place your attention on that for a minute and see the next step from that. I think it's a powerful thing to do. I always like to end it on this as well. No, Simon will close it out in a minute. We do this out of, the greatness of our heart. We truly believe in giving. This ain't gospel. It's just our own beliefs, philosophies, and what we do and practical stuff, right? Our results show. But at the same time, someone will need to hear this message. So who do you know in your own network that could possibly need what we do? That's what we're asking, because that's where we're really going to get, and give our time for this to impact other people, because that one thing, you're one decision away from making a better life for yourself, and we truly believe in that, and that would really help us contribute to what we're doing as well, my man.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've said it all. I don't think I need to say anything. I think that's perfecto. Yeah, folks, has this been valuable for you before we get out? What has been the one thing? Because I've realised it's 4:30. we were meant to do 30, 40 minutes. We've done an hour and 20. But most of you are still here, which is amazing that you sat and listened to us this long.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, what's been has it been valuable? Let us know what you took from it, and and we'll see you next week, man. We got some people joining us in the next few weeks, which should be, we got Jason Kane coming on. Jason Kane's a cool bloke. He's going to talk to us all about habits and different things. Really interesting bloke. I know Baz is going to come in and do a little bit, talk about a few things with us. And
oh, my man, Barry in the house. And I was going to bring, we're going to bring some fella talking about natural ways and most clinical ways to help improve your immune system too. How about that?
That'd be nice. Nice.
Cool.
Right, folks, it's been a blast. Thanks for staying. This is the new weekly lockdown announcement. There's some practical stuff in there. Take it and use it. No shit. Take it and use it. Go back, make a couple of notes, and do some stuff. If you've heard about this through my list, drop me a message on there and let me know what you got from it. If you're in Ben's crew, drop him a message. Do you know what I mean? And
brilliant. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I'll see y'all real soon. Peace.